What is it about food that makes you so passionate about it and interested
Well,
in it?
I'm greedy.
That's the best reason of all, I suppose.
I think so. I don't, I'm very nervous when people talk about it as a great art. I mean, I think one of the interesting things about cooking is that it's practical, but there is an element that goes beyond that. But, I started doing more cooking in a sense when I used to have to write a column or something like that. I would find just stirring something or chopping something would let me think about things in a way.
Yes.
And then I realized that actually there was a lot to be said for mindless repetitive activity. And that's why I went into television. So I like cooking and I like eating and I like that thing of feeding people. I mean, when we make the programs, at the beginning there's a big sort of health and safety thing and no one's allowed to eat the food. If they do, that's at their own risk. You're not covered by insurance, and I take it all very personally. But what I like about the fact is the minute the director says cut, the camera's down and everyone's eating the food. And in a way, it doesn't interest me if I'm not feeding people.
But the style of presentation, which has earned you this celebrity in a sense, I mean, it has made a huge difference. I mean, was that contrived? I mean, not to start with, but did you get this sense of, right, we've got something here, it's a good gimmick this, let's extend it, let's play on it?
No, I don't think so. I have to say, it was very difficult after the first series, because when you do the first series, you're just doing what you do without any thought really of being seen, which is maybe a naive thing to say when you're doing television, but of course when you're doing it, you're just doing it. And then once critics have said things or viewers have said things, then you start thinking, I don't want to get self-conscious, which is why actually I never watch the programme. But, a lot of it is what's done in the editing room and how it's done on camera.
It's you. It's you.
Well,
it's
I
your
babble.
personality.
I tell you what, I do it. I'm not scripted. I just go into this kind of babble that you hear now.
Yes.
And
about disemboweling lemons.
Yeah.
And putting your hands into soft and. I mean, it gets them going wherever it is, Nigel.
I like doing it, and I think that's quite important.
Well, again, I mean, it doesn't work unless you're enthusiastic.
No, I know.
I mean, that's the other thing that comes across. I mean, we've got the greatest exponent of that coming on later on, David Attenborough.
Yeah.
I mean, never lost that sense of wonder about things. But I mean, what's interesting too? You're a journalist. I mean, if you were writing a column now and you looked at yourself,
I would be so horrible about myself.
Would you?
Yeah.
Oh, would you really?
Actually, the funny thing is, when How to Be a Domestic Goddess came out, and I was railed against for being, a traitor to the sisterhood, despite the fact that it was so obviously ironic. I felt, if I'd been filing a column, I would have done exactly the same. So I feel fine, We've all got inches to fill, so therefore, let's not worry about it.
But what about when you satirise, when the comedians get hold of it, when they send you up? What do you think about that? You've seen that happen, haven't you? You don't.
Yes, but if it makes me laugh, I'm fine. I mean, I don't take myself seriously, I can tell you.